Hi, I'm Jamie Reinhardt Smith. I'm a fine artist and live wedding painter based in San Francisco, California. These are my 3 simple steps to help you set the foundation for a successful acrylic painting. Step 1, palette prep. I'm cleaning up the space around the main paint piles with a palette knife. All of the colors I use are around the edges of the palette, and the names will pop up on the screen so you can see what colors I typically use. You will see there's some staining on the palette paper and also staining on my hands as I am a messy painter. This is a paper that's made special for this palette. It's not wax paper or parchment paper, it's a paper that absorbs just enough water to keep the acrylic paint from drying out. The paint on this palette is about 5 days outside of the tube. I set up this palette at a live wedding painting last Thursday. So as you can see, the paint's holding up really well. It's only slightly runnier than when I first squeezed it from the tube. Step 2, the sketch. Every successful painting begins with a sketch. I'll admit, I don't always do thumbnails like this. For this painting, I was working off of a few different reference photos, so it was important to me to visualize how I was going to piece them together. These are the photos I was thinking about for this painting. It really doesn't look like much, but it does help me. The next part is to redraw the sketch onto my canvas. This part took me a while as I was still thinking through what I wanted in the painting and what I wanted to omit. I originally thought I would include the fence, but I quickly changed it to a couple of large rocks instead. Step 3, monochromatic block-in. Now we get to paint. Well, sort of. This step is all about using one color to block in your value ranges. I'm using a number 6 Princeton Aspen brush to go back over my sketch with dioxazine purple. You can choose to complete this step with any color you want. You will be using one color and only adding white to change the value. This will set up depth in the painting. Now, I bet you're thinking, why did she choose purple? Well, it's a combination of simplicity and personal preference. I like that this purple looks black right out of the tube, but when you add white to it, you see it's not black at all. It's just full of surprises, and I love that. Black would be boring because I'd end up with a ton of grays, and it would probably cover them up later. Purple, well, I can use it to my advantage against all the warm orange and brown rock tones that will inevitably come into this Grand Canyon painting. I enjoy this part. Not only is it a helpful tool for setting up the values, but it frees my mind. I also just love this color, so that probably helps. I'm going to just let the camera roll through all 9 minutes of this process. So if you get bored, feel free to hit the gear icon to adjust the speed. Right now, I'm establishing the dark areas. I'm not really thinking about these areas as rock or snow or shrubs, just looking at their shapes and value. I chose to include rocks that looked a bit like boulders so that they would cast a shadow off the canvas. I like the color of the cast shadows seen in this reference photo. color of the shadows doesn't really apply to what I'm doing right now with the purple, but I just wanted to give you a visualization of kind of where this painting is headed in my mind. I'm getting ready to paint the lightest layer of rock closest to the sun. So I'm realizing that I have too much paint on my brush. I need to wipe off the excess, and so that way the dark purples don't come through. Now that I have the lightest and farthest rock formation established, I'm going to darken each group as they move closer to us. These canyon edges and rock layers are so visually appealing. They remind me of decadent layers of cake. Right now, I'm going to dip my brush in water and create a very light coat over the top of the shrubs so you can still see the dark layer that I created, and it's just going to fill in the rest. This is white snow, so I'll leave it as bare canvas. There would be a shadow here on the rock, so I'm going to fill that in. And when I move into the shadow, I'm going to create some sort of gradation. To fill in the top of the rocks, I'm going to wet the brush and use the same technique I did on the above canyon rocks when I painted over the shrubs. I'm just going to use a very light coat just to fill in all the remaining white spots. And finally, I'm going to fill in the remaining layers of rock. And here's the last layer. Trying to get the color just right. Have to combine the right amount of purple and white to get a layer that's darker than the one above. And there we have it, folks. All of our monochromatic values are in. Thank you for watching. In my next video, I'll show you how I turn this into a completed painting.